Here's my center of operations, my desk. Go ahead and poke around. If you want to know the particulars of how I do what I do, take a look at the book titled How to Be a Detective. It's real helpful, especially if you're new to the mystery solving. Current assignment. What assignment? Bess and I are flying. Current assignment. What assignment? Bess and I are flying to New Orleans for a long weekend of fabulous music, sightseeing, and food. Okay. Here's my center of operations, my desk. Go ahead and poke around. If you want to know the particulars of how I do what I do, hello? Anybody here? Hi, the door was open.
Here, drink this.
What is it?
Something that'll make you feel better. Drink it. Just a couple sips.
Okay.
That's it.
No offense, but yuck.
Don't make her drink any of your weirdo concoctions. Then I really will have to take her to the emergency room.
You just go back to your phone call and leave us be. Don't pay him any mind.
Where am I?
You're at Henry Bolet's house, dear, in the library. He and I carried you in here after I found you unconscious in the foyer.
Why is it so dark in here?
The electricity went out. Lightning must have struck a transformer somewhere. What happened? Can you remember?
Well, the front door was open, so I walked in, and then I saw I saw a skeleton. And then he saw me. And then the light started flickering, and he threw something at me that exploded. Well, the smoke must have made me pass out.
You saw a skeleton?
I'm sure it was just someone, wearing a costume or something. I'm Nancy Drew, by the way. I came to see Henry.
So we surmised. I'm Renee Amand. I'm Bruno Bolet's housekeeper. That is, I was. This skeleton that attacked you, perhaps we should call the police.
No emergency room, no police. Things are complicated enough as it is.
Henry's feeling a mite overwhelmed. Well, you are looking much better, so I'm gonna get back to my plant potting. You need anything? I'll be outside in the garden.
I should call them and keep them on hold for 5 hours and see how they like it.
So, Nancy, nice to meet you. Ned sent you here to check up on me, huh?
He's kind of worried about you, that's all.
Ned's a nice guy. I mean, I really don't know him that well, just from school. But when I mentioned that my only living relative just died, he was all like, "Yeah? How you feeling, man? You doing okay? Wanna talk?" Of course, I guess I do come across as a little needy sometimes.
Were you very close to your uncle?
Great uncle Bruno, and no, I wasn't. My parents died in a car crash when I was 8. Since I had no other relatives, he took me in, or should I say he shipped me out. Boarding school, summer camp, military school, college. He may have looked after me, but he never spent any time with me. I didn't know him at all.
What are you doing, if you don't mind my asking?
Great Uncle Bruno named me executor of his estate, which means I have to make sure all his bills are paid and debts taken care of so his assets can be distributed. Unfortunately, he couldn't have cared less about little things like keeping records or balancing checkbooks. Dealing with his creditors and their lawyers has been an absolute nightmare. So, thanks for stopping by, Nancy. And now you can report back to Ned that I'm fine and go enjoy New Orleans.
No, I can't. Not until I know who that skeleton man was and what he was doing here and why he knocked me out like that. Look, I can understand you're not wanting to call the police, but somebody should investigate. And since playing detective is kind of a hobby with me...
No offense, but are you sure you didn't just pass out from the heat and humidity or something and dream that you saw the skeleton dude?
I'm positive.
Okay, look around all you want. But I should probably warn you, Uncle Bruno was into exotic pets. Didn't believe in cages, so he gave him the run of the place. And just because he's dead doesn't mean they are. So if you're gonna go poking around, be careful. Yes?
Is your great-uncle's estate worth very much?
I have no idea, nor will I until I get all his affairs settled. He was a dentist for most of his life, so he must have had some money squirreled away. As you can tell, he was darn good at squirreling away junk.
Have you had any of his things appraised?
Somebody from a curio shop came in and took a quick look around, but it wasn't anything formal.
I'll let you get back to work.
Groovy. Yes?
Why is there an empty frame in the gallery in the other room?
Apparently someone stole the canvas. Renee says it disappeared sometime after Bruno died.
Was it valuable?
In a way, it was of my parents. I think it was painted in the garden out back. Renee doesn't like me. Wouldn't surprise me if she took it out of spite.
I found this scrap of paper in the fireplace. Do you know anything about it?
No. You always go digging around in people's fireplaces?
Just looking for something that might tell me who that skeleton man was.
Ah. Anything else?
Why is there a model of a cemetery in the other room?
Because Great Uncle Bruno used to oversee the cemetery next door. Made that scale model so he could keep track of where everything, or should I say everyone, was. Crafted all those miniature crypts himself. And people think I'm weird.
Do you know what this is? I found it in the other room.
Looks to me like some kind of tracing.
I was thinking that maybe my skeleton man left it behind.
Well, I sure don't know anything about it. Anything else?
I'm going to keep looking around.
Sounds good.
Nancy, welcome to my little lantern-lit corner of the world.
It's a little wet out here.
I don't mind. No one should mind the rain. Without it, the end of the world would come much too soon. Did you and Henry have a nice chat?
We talked.
Henry's a very morose, very negative young man. Very cunning, too. In fact, I'm fairly certain that he's been selling off Dr. Beaulay's belongings on the sly.
Won't all of Dr. Beaulay's belongings go to Henry anyway?
Absolutely not. According to Dr. Beaulay's will, Henry is to get 30% of the estate. Dr. Beaulay's physician, Gilbert Buford, gets 30%. Our Lady of Route 57 School of Dentistry and Cosmetology gets 30%. And I am to receive 10%.
What was in that concoction you wanted me to drink after I got knocked out?
Never you mind. It was just a little remedy I brewed up on the spot to help you feel better.
If you don't like Henry that much, how come you're still here?
I'm here because Dr. Beaulay paid me in advance, and I always fulfill my obligations.
Have you ever seen this before? I found it by that scale model of the cemetery that's inside the house.
It's a mystery to me. I suggest you ask Henry. He leaves things lying around all the time. I guess it figures I won't notice amid all the other clutter. But I do. I notice everything. How else may I be of service to you?
What can you tell me about the painting that's missing from the frame in the gallery?
Very little, I'm afraid. I didn't notice the picture was gone until after the reception following Dr. Bolay's funeral. I cannot even tell you what it was a picture of.
If you don't mind my asking, what's in that little pouch you wear around your neck?
Things. Secret things. Things that give me special talents when special times demand them. People usually laugh when I say this, but this pouch is my connection to the energy that powers the universe.
Oh.
Well, at least you didn't laugh.
I'd better get going.
One more thing. I, too, have seen the skeleton man. After Dr. Bolay passed, that night, I saw him in the hallway. He was there, then he was gone. So you best be careful, Nancy Drew, because if it was Mr. Death, and I truly think it was, he's come back.
That should keep you guys quiet for a while. To figure out if there's anything camouflaged in that design, I'm gonna need some paper.
Hello again.
Do you by any chance have some plain paper that I could use?
I most certainly do. But it's up in my room, and I'm afraid I cannot retrieve it for you until I'm finished here. You get the sudden urge to draw a picture?
Something like that. I know, I'll help you. That way you'll get done faster.
Gracious, you are the picture of impatience, aren't you? Well, I appreciate the offer. But here, why don't you just take this instead? It's an extra key to my room. The paper's in a drawer in my nightstand. Just go on up and help yourself. But make sure you lock the door when you leave, you hear? You I trust, but Henry, him I do not.
I really appreciate this.
And long as you're going up there, my appetite could use a little placating, so I would be much obliged if you would bring me a candy bar from my nightstand. And take one for yourself while you're at it.
One for Renee, and one for me. Yum.
You bring me that Cocoa Kringle bar like I asked?
Right here.
Bless you. I'm so hungry I could devour these plants I'm potting up, dirt and all. How else may I be of service to you?
Whose boat is tied up down there where the bayou comes up to the cemetery? Do you know?
That would be my boat. Comes in very handy when I need to forage for certain swamp-dwelling plants.
Those weird symbols on the wall in your room, do you know who painted them?
I did. Fact of the matter is, there's a spirit living in that wall.
A spirit?
Got a voice that'd send shivers down the spine of Dracula himself. Used to hear it sometimes, in the dead of night, half talking, half whispering, saying this one word I never heard before, like it was from a language no one on earth spoke. And suddenly, I knew. The spirit was trying to cast a spell on me. So I got me a book and found out that by painting the word I heard on the wall, syllable by syllable, in hoodoo signs, I could counteract the word's power. And you know what? The spirit has not spoken that word or any other since.
What was the word?
Darling, a sack full of water moccasins couldn't get me to say that word out loud. Nor will I write it down, no sir. Not ever, ever, ever.
Nice talking to you.
Come see me any time.
This must be the painting that goes in that empty frame.
Yes?
I'm going to keep looking around.
Groovy.
Hello?
Bess, hi, it's me.
Hey, Nance. I just got back from shopping, which I am happy to report is fantastic here. So, what's going on with you?
A lot.
A lot is in a whole bunch of fun stuff?
Let me start by telling you what happened when I arrived at Henry's house. I walked up to the front door and discovered it was open. So I walked in.
You were knocked out by a skeleton wearing a red ascot?
Someone dressed as a skeleton wearing a red ascot. Although the housekeeper here thinks it really was a skeleton, Mr. Death. But then, she's a little strange.
You think it was a burglar?
I'm not sure. I caught him or her sneaking around this scale model of a cemetery. And later, I found a tracing of something right by it. So if I could just figure out what it's a tracing of, and what, if anything, it has to do with that model cemetery, I might be able to figure out who Skeleton Man is.
I know that tone of voice. You're not leaving there until you've done just that, are you?
Oh, I also found some kind of receipt in the fireplace that may or may not be a clue.
What's it a receipt for?
That's what I need to find out. See, it's half burned up. All I can read is the receipt number and the name of the place it's from. Zeke's.
Zeke's? You gotta be kidding me.
Why? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm sitting here on our balcony in the French Quarter looking down at a place across the street called Zeke's.
That's great. So go over there and ask whoever's behind the counter what receipt number 21-3872 is for.
You want me to snoop?
I wouldn't call it snooping.
Forget it. Not gonna do it.
Bess,
I'm not good at that sneaking around stuff, Nancy. I get nervous, my tongue gets all knotted up, my palms sweat, to say nothing of my armpits.
Bess, receipt number 21-3872. Just go in and ask what it's for. No big deal.
Maybe not for you.
Bess, you can do it.
This is not gonna end well, I just know it. Okay, I'll call you as soon as it's over.
I'll be waiting.
Hey, doing a little end-of-the-day shopping, huh? See something you like?
I like everything.
That's what I want to hear. I'm Lamont. This is my place. So if you got any questions, I'm the guy to ask.
Actually, I do have a question. This friend of mine found the number of a receipt that came from this shop, and she asked me to ask you what the receipt is for. But if you're really busy, or you'd rather not, or it's against the rules...
No problem. What's the number?
21-3872.
21-3872. Here we go. That ticket was for a large box of assorted, unknown items I bought from Henry Boley. And, that's all I can tell you.
Is something wrong?
Look, I just don't want to make trouble for anyone, okay?
Can you tell me what was in the box?
It's still in the back room. I haven't had a chance to really go through it yet. Hey, is there something else I can help you with? Beads, hula dolls, old books. Got great deals on all of them.
Is Henry Boulay a friend of yours?
No, I met him at the reception at Bruno's house following the funeral. Gave Henry my card, said when he wanted to start liquidating, he should give me a call.
Was Bruno a friend of yours?
Way I hear it, Bruno Boulay didn't have any friends. But I wish he had been my friend. I mean, that house of his is filled with junk. He kept everything. For someone in my business, the place is knick-knack heaven.
Seeing as this place is called Zeke's, and it's your place, shouldn't your name be Zeke?
Guy I bought this place from wouldn't sell it to me unless I swore I wouldn't change the name. So I didn't. Funny thing was, his name wasn't Zeke either. But
What's up with all those bottles of weird stuff over there?
hoodoo's something some of the more superstitious people around here practice. They think if you mix certain herbs and roots a certain way and drink them, or carry special objects around in little mojo bags, it can give you a supernatural edge in your daily life.
Does it work?
All I can tell you is, the stuff I got in here sells like hotcakes. Somebody thinks it works, so hey, who knows?
Maybe I'll have another look around in here.
You got a question, just holler.
This might come in handy. There, that should do it. Lamont, could you help me?
Sure, what do you need?
I can't quite reach that bottle up there. Could you get it for me?
Sure.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I'll go get you something. What do you need?
Nose spray. Back room.
Nose spray, back room. Got it. Cute dog. Whoa, this is weird. I better call Nancy and read this to her word for word.
Wow, Bess, that is weird.
No, I'll tell you what's weird. The box the letter is in is padded, and it has this round indentation in it that's the exact size of a human skull. It's like it used to contain a skull, but now it doesn't.
Did you find anything else?
Yeah, inside the box that this box is in, there's a couple of photographs. One's of a boy and a dog, and the other is of an iguana dressed up like a pirate.
What?
And there's a costume in the box of a skeleton man.
Really?
And did I mention that Lamont was very reluctant to talk about buying this box of stuff from Henry? Said he didn't want to get anyone in trouble, whatever that means.
Sounds like he or Henry, or possibly both, are up to something they shouldn't be. Good job, Bess. I'm gonna poke around here and see if I can find out anything about a skull called the Whisperer. You better go take care of Lamont.
Would you believe it? The guy is still sneezing. He must keep nose spray around because something's wrong with his sinuses. Oh, he's gonna hate me.
What was that?
That was Uncle Bruno's pet iguana, Iggy. He's always in here stealing paper. He must be using it to build a nest or something. Look, I had all those books arranged so they fit perfectly in that box. Put them back in, okay? I don't have time.
I just want to look through this one book.
Go right ahead. After you put all those other books back.
My name's Nancy Drew. Is this Professor Hotchkiss?
I am she. Nancy Drew. Your name has a ring to it. Do I know you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we met a little while back in Wisconsin.
Oh, yes. You were the delightful young lady doling out the samples in the tasting room of that cheese factory. Yum, yum.
No, I met you at Wickford Castle.
That's ridiculous. There was no cheese tasting room at Wickford Castle.
No, we were both guests there. I found a journal written by Marie Antoinette which you translated. Remember?
Thanks to you, suddenly all I can think about is how wonderful a nice big slab of Colby cheese would taste right now. Listen, Mandy, I'm on a deadline, so if you could please just tell me why you called.
But my name isn't...
Deadline! Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Chop, chop.
Did a man from New Orleans named Bruno Bollet ever call you?
Ah, now there's a name you can remember. Bollet. Nice and French. I'm a scholar of French history, you know.
Yes, I know. So did Bruno Bollet call you?
Indeed he did. Oui, oui.
Why did he call, if you don't mind my asking?
Because he had read my book, of course. The Crystal Skulls. Fact or fable, one of my best efforts. Sold like hotcakes, smothered in a rich, tangy lemon sauce.
Did he say anything about owning one of the skulls himself?
I would have hung up on him straight away if he had. I tell you, Brandy, if I had $1 for every crackpot who's called claiming to own one of those skulls, I'd be able to dine at the Russian tea room every evening for the rest of my life. All right, that's a bit of hyperbole, but you get the picture. No. If memory serves, we talked mostly about the skull called the Whisperer. He wanted to know if I had learned any more about it since my book was published, which I hadn't, or if I had any theory as to what happened to it, which I didn't.
And that was the extent of your conversation?
Well, now, let me think. My, such insatiable curiosity, Nellie. You remind me of someone I encountered on one of my journeys. But for the life of me, I cannot remember her name or the circumstances.
Nancy Drew? Wickford Castle?
Ah! The eyes have it.
I'm sorry?
That's what Bruno Bollet said when I turned the tables and asked him if he had any idea where the Whisperer was. He said, the eyes have it. Then he chuckled and hung up.
How much would a crystal skull like the Whisperer be worth?
In this crazy day and age, where the shorn hair and used tissues of celebrities get sold for thousands of dollars, there's absolutely no telling, Candy. $500,000 easily. Maybe even $1 million. Maybe 2. Maybe 10. The sky's the limit. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
If someone found a skull made of crystal, how could they be sure it's one of the crystal skulls?
Wonderful question, Francie. How indeed? Because there are sure to be thousands of fakes out there. Perhaps tens of thousands. But remember, the real skulls were made long before the tools commonly used for carving today were invented. Which means, let's put on our thinking caps.
Modern-day tools would have left marks if the skull was a fake?
Exactly so. Mind you, the marks on a good fake would be microscopic and thus imperceptible to the human eye. However, any thorough laboratory analysis would quickly unmask a counterfeit.
So the only way to prove that a skull is the real deal is by proving it's not a fake?
And by examining its provenance, its history of ownership. If it can be shown that a particular specimen has been passed along from antiquity into modern times and didn't just suddenly appear in, say, Germany in the mid-19th century, that would tend to support its authenticity as well.
The idea that the Whisperer can make its owner immortal, do you believe that?
I believe that things that defy any so-called rational explanations happen all the time, Nessie. Now, does that mean there are mysterious external forces at work in the universe of which we do not and cannot ever have full knowledge? Or does it all boil down to us? If the human heart desperately wants something to be true, does the human mind have the power to make it true? Who knows?
dreary life would be without them.
In your book, you said that all the people who've ever owned the Whisperer were murdered, yet Bruno Bollet dropped dead of a heart attack.
Are you saying the Whisperer was in his possession after all? The scallywag! Why didn't he tell me that? Oh, that's right, I would have hung up on him. Well, if that's the case, then I strongly suggest you take a close look at his so-called heart attack, Sandy. Because if he owned the skull and he died, I guarantee you it was at the hands of someone else. Or my name's not Beatrice Gertrude Winifred Hotchkiss.
That's it for now.
Rock and roll!
Yes?
How did Bruno die, if you don't mind my asking?
Just dropped dead in the front hallway. I mean, the guy was 95 years old. Here, check it out. Myocardial infarction. That's doctor speak for heart attack.
Attending physician Dr. Gilbert Buford, 504-555-9970. Was that Bruno's doctor?
And his best friend, or so I'm told. I've never met him.
Interesting keychain.
That's one of Uncle Bruno's glass eyes. It's the one he was wearing when he died.
How nice.
Anything else?
I'll let you get back to work.
Whatever.
Hello again.
Did Dr. Bollet ever say anything to you about a crystal skull? He may have referred to it as the Whisperer.
No, he never so much as mentioned a crystal skull, whispering or otherwise.
Were you in the house when Dr. Bollet passed away?
I was indeed. I was in the library cleaning when all of a sudden I heard a big thump. I hurried out to investigate, and sure enough, there was Dr. Bollet lying by the front door. And as I rushed over to him, the door opened and in walked Gilbert Buford. He took one look at Dr. Bollet and hollered at me to call 911, so I ran back into the library and did just that. When I came back out, Gilbert was leaning over Dr. Bollet, listening for breathing, I suppose, and then he started pushing up and down on his chest, but it was too late. Even I could tell that Dr. Bollet was gone.
What was he doing by the front door?
I assume he saw Gilbert coming and was going to open the door for him. Not that there was any need. As you yourself discovered, people around here seldom lock their front doors during the day. But you know, in the back of my mind, I have always wondered about Gilbert Buford showing up at the door at that exact moment.
I understand that Dr. Bollet had some interesting pets, like an iguana.
That man never met a creature he didn't like. He'd train them to do all kinds of silly tricks, then let them run free, inside the house as well as out.
Do you know how he went about training them?
I surely do not. Don't get me wrong. I liked Dr. Bollet, I truly did. But I swear, sometimes his activities made as much sense to me as bathing in a bayou full of gators.
I'll leave you to your potting.
Thanks for coming by.
This is Dr. Gilbert Buford's answering service. How may I help you?
I need to talk to Dr. Buford. Could you maybe give me a number where I can reach him?
No, ma'am, I cannot. Is this an emergency?
Sort of. I mean, it's not a medical emergency. See, I'm only going to be in town for a short time, and Dr. Buford and I have this mutual friend who died recently, and I just really need to talk to him about it.
Need some consoling, huh?
Yes, I need some consoling. That's it exactly.
Well, tell you what. It's against the rules to give you his phone number, but I can tell you that now that he's all but retired, Dr. Buford spends most of his evenings at his favorite gumbo stand down in the French Quarter. If you really need to talk to him, you can probably find him there.
Great. Do you know the address?
It's at the corner of Rampart and Domain.
Did you say Rampart and Dumaine?
I did indeed. Granny Pumpkin's Cajun Cooking. They make some darn fine gumbo.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and I'm truly sorry about your loss.
My loss?
That mutual friend of yours and Dr. Buford's?
Oh, right. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Bye.
Hello?
Hi, Bess. It's me.
So what's been happening? Tell me everything.
Well, let's see. Since the last time we talked, I was just about getting ready to...
Interesting stuff.
But the reason I called is I need you to talk to this doctor named Gilbert Buford, who, as it turns out, likes to hang out at a gumbo stand called Granny Pumpkin's Cajun Cookin', which should be right across from our hotel.
You just want me to talk to him? That's it? Nothing nefarious? No black ops stuff?
He was Bruno Bolet's doctor, and apparently his best friend, too. I just need for you to see if he thinks there was anything weird about the way Bruno died.
What do you mean by weird?
I mean, I kind of think maybe Bruno was murdered.
Murdered? By whom?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Everyone's a suspect at this point.
Including this Gilbert Buford guy?
Well,
Great, I'm gonna be chatting up Jack the Ripper.
oh, I'm sure the guy's fine, but be subtle, just in case.
Well, I can see the gumbo stand from our balcony. If he's the guy that's sitting down there, I guess he looks harmless. Okay, I'll go talk to him.
Thanks, Bess. Let me know what happens.
Cheerio!
Why, hello, young lady. How kind of you to grace an old man with your lovely presence.
Are you Dr. Gilbert Buford?
I'm delighted to report that I am indeed.
Your answering service said I'd probably find you here.
This here is my favorite spot in the whole city. Delicious gumbo, pleasing view, particularly now, I might add.
My name's Bess Marvin. I'd like to ask you some questions about Bruno Bolet, if that's okay?
I'd prefer subject matter of a happier nature, but I do not want to seem inhospitable, so what is it you want to know?
Is it true that Dr. Bolet was your best friend?
Well, now, I was certainly his best friend, but I cannot honestly say that he was mine. Fact is, while socializing with my fellow man, particularly with pretty young women such as yourself, has always been a source of pleasure for me, Bruno was just the opposite. Unfortunately, the older he got, the more numerous his idiosyncrasies became, and the less concerned about their negative effect upon others he became.
His idiosyncrasies didn't bother you?
Now, as a doctor of medicine, I am not only accustomed to dealing with the abnormal, but I find that I'm actually drawn to it. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed Bruno's outlandish personality, although at the same time I fear it may have played a role in his demise. You see, he died of a myocardial infarction, most likely caused by age-related atherosclerosis. Dying of a heart attack is all too common for people who are socially isolated, and Bruno Bolet had most certainly become that.
Did they do an autopsy on Dr. Bolet?
No. Given Bruno's advanced age and the absence of any indication of foul play, an autopsy was deemed unnecessary, and the body was cremated according to Bruno's wishes.
Did Dr. Bolet ever say anything to you about owning a crystal skull?
Why, yes. Yes, he did. In fact, he showed it to me once. Said it had magical powers. Said owning it was going to allow him to live forever. I thought it was utter nonsense and told him so. Well, he didn't appreciate that at all. Refused to talk to me for a full 2 weeks.
What'd the skull look like?
It was quite beautiful, actually. Life-size, perfect in form and clarity, like a diamond almost. Tell me, Miss Bess, what do you know about that crystal skull?
This friend of mine, who is also a friend of Henry Bolet, you know, Dr. Bolet's great-nephew, Anyway, while she was visiting Henry, she saw this book in Bruno's library about the legendary crystal skulls and was kind of intrigued and thought that since Henry said that you were pretty much Bruno's only friend, maybe Bruno had said something to you about it, and as it turns out, he had. That's all I know.
I see. Well, much as I'd like to believe that skull holds the key to immortality, I'm afraid Bruno's passing proves it's worthless. Although it would make an attractive paperweight, as I recall. Tell your friend not to give it another thought.
Dr. Boulez's housekeeper says you just happened to walk in just as he was having his heart attack. Is that true?
Indeed it is. I hadn't seen him for a while, so I picked that day to pay him a visit. I walked up to the front door, found it unlocked as usual, opened it, and there he was, lying on the floor in obvious distress. The next thing I know, his housekeeper came running in and started shrieking and carrying on, until finally I sent her out of the room so she could summon an ambulance, and I could once again hear myself think. Then well, let's see. Then I knelt down and saw that he wasn't breathing. So I pulled him away from the doorway so I'd have more room to work on him, and began chest compressions. I continued until the medics arrived, but nothing they did made a difference either.
Was Dr. Boulez unconscious the whole time?
Yes, he was.
Can you remember anything that might indicate what he was doing by the front door? I mean, had he just come in from a walk? Was he wearing a hat? Was he holding anything? Had he dropped something? An umbrella? Sunglasses?
Wait a minute. Why, yes. Yes, he was holding something. A piece of paper. And on the floor next to him was an envelope. He must have collapsed while reading a letter.
Do you know what happened to it?
Now, I know the letter was no longer in Bruno's hand when the paramedics arrived, so perhaps he released the letter when I moved him. And yet, I do not recall seeing it on the floor when they wheeled him out the door. Iggy.
What's Icky?
Iggy. Iggy is an iguana Bruno befriended, then turned loose in his home. It soon developed the annoying habit of stealing paper and stockpiling it in the vent system.
Are you saying an iguana made off with the letter Bruno had been reading?
It would not have been the first time a missing document ended up in Iggy's possession. Renee would periodically call me saying the lizard had absconded with one of Bruno's prescriptions and would I please write her up a replacement. In any case, Bruno once told me he was training Iggy. Said he taught Iggy to retrieve the things it had stolen.
Do you think it's possible that Renee caused Dr. Boulez's death by, say, hoarding the pills from those missing prescriptions and giving them to him all at once?
No. Had he died of an overdose of the medications I had prescribed, the manner of his death would have been quite different. But he died of a heart attack. Of that I am certain. However, I know for a fact that Renee is deeply involved in the practice of hoodoo. And as Bruno's housekeeper, she had ample opportunity to use it against my poor old friend.
You mean hoodoo really works?
Young lady, never, ever underestimate the power of suggestion. If a person believes in something, even on a subconscious level, fantasy can easily become fact. And who knows what rubbish Renee filled Bruno's mind with? Drink this, don't eat that, this brings good luck, that brings bad, day in and day out. Even if he said he didn't believe a word of it, who knows how much his subconscious was absorbing? He was very old and vulnerable. So could Renee have caused Bruno to have that fatal heart attack? There's not a doubt in my mind she could indeed.
I've bugged you enough.
Feel free to drop by any time.
Hello?
Hi, Nance. Okay, here's what's been happening at mine.
And that's pretty much it.
Good work. I'll take it from here. Thanks again.
Good luck. Bye.
Come on, Summer, give me a break here. You never said anything about that. Well, how was I supposed to know? I mean, what am I, telepathic? No, come on. Look, I'll see what I can do, okay? What do you mean, something else? You've gotta be kidding me, Summer. I don't have that kind of money. No, I mean, I don't have it now, but I will soon, okay? Bye. Oh, man.
May 31st? That's today. There must be another way out.
Pa, Sha, Mu, Pa, Di, Mu, Pa.
creature.